Hey guys, this is Brandon here with Investment Joy, and I'm here with my best new friend, Matt Cox. And if you've watched the videos up to this point, you would understand that he's done a lot of white-collar crime, but he also likes real estate. Can you legally buy real estate right now?
No.
But in our conversations, I asked Matt, what's your take on the real estate market? Because everybody that's on YouTube and TikTok is giving their opinion about real estate and the real estate market. And the conversation came up, what would you do right now if you were somebody that was, say, 18, 21, mid-20s, early 30s? What kind of real estate investment would you get in knowing all the stuff that you do? And he knows a lot about real estate. He used it for wrong.
Wait a minute. I own flipped about over 100 houses.
Okay.
I've owned over 50 rental units. Now I acquired them fraudulently, but I still managed them, and I flipped them correctly. Okay. And I just, granted there were some questionable
tactics.
Tactics, but in general, I have a vast amount of experience in real estate.
But we talked about what would you be doing, and he started talking about rooming houses.
Right.
And to me, that's like, oh, yeah, rooming houses are a strategy that everybody needs to know about. So we're going to walk through one of my empty rentals here, maybe walk through it. But the idea is to talk about taking a house like this, in this shape, and knowing the rooming house prices. I paid $20,000 for this unit that we're staying in right now.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Taking a unit like this in Ohio, you could implement Matt's strategy and pull in, based on my knowledge of sleeping room prices, between $1,200 and $1,600 a month off this location.
If you're buying them for this price, yeah, definitely, you could make a ton of money. On my channel, I get guys that hit me up in the comments saying, hey, what would you do in the real estate market? And that's like how the whole thing kind of got started. So it's like, what would you do in the real estate market right now with the uncertainty of what's going to happen in the next 18 months with the real estate market? And I was like, what was the only safe bet, in my opinion, at somebody who's kind of at an entry level would be rooming houses. And I wouldn't call them rooming houses because rooming houses has a bad connotation to it, right? So I would call them like eco units or micro lofts. So micro lofts, that makes it sound trendy. So, so it's for some reason people shy away from words like, slumlord. Then you don't have to be a slumlord. You can be like the CEO of a micro loft startup.
Rebranding.
You can go out right now. The easiest thing to purchase, the easiest transaction is a single family home. What is also the worst possible rental that's out there? A single family house. A single family house is a horrible rental. If you can go and get a 95% or 100% loan on a single family home, let's say depending on whether you have VA or FHA or whatever, well, you can take a 3-bedroom, 2-bath or 3-bedroom, 1-bath, and you can turn the living room and dining room into a bedroom. So now you've got a 5-bedroom, 1-bath. You don't have a living room or anything, but that doesn't matter because you don't want your tenants hanging out anyway. I'm not running a place to hang out. I'm renting a room.
Yeah.
They share a bathroom, and they pay, like I said, they pay $125 here. People are paying $150 in Tampa. Mm-hmm. And so if you're in a lower middle class area, you can buy a house reasonably. It doesn't matter if you buy it correctly. You do the math. Roughly, you're going to make about $1,500 a month profit, and you have to pay the electric and water. You're making $1,500. You're bringing in like $3,000 and change.
This strategy is really, really cool. And whether we're in Southern Ohio,
listen, the first rooming house I bought, I actually talk about this on my channel. I do like a whole 30-minute thing where I talk about. it was an accident where I went in to buy a house, to bulldoze it, to build 2 houses. But when I got there at the closing, the guy who was selling me the house said to me, do you want to go collect rent? And I went, oh, that's right. This is a rooming house, right? Like I'd never been in it because I'm bulldozing it. So I went and we knocked on the first door, boom. Guy gives me a check for like $317 for his Social Security for his whole, he paid that his whole month. Gives me the $317. I was like, okay. Next guy gives me like $80. Next guy gives me like $75. Next guy gives me $80. Now this was 15 years ago and this was a horrible place. But I walked out of there with over $1,000. I'm like, you get this every week? He's like, well, not from the first guy, but I get about $1,000 a week. And I was like, are you serious? I can't bulldoze this place. I immediately bought a house across the street, turned it into a rooming house. Another house we were renovating, I walked in there, I said, stop doing anything. I want a wall here, I want a wall. I immediately turned that thing into, next thing you know, we were turning everything into a rooming house because we were making so much money. And I was amazed that the tenants that I thought there was going to be high turnover. There's not high turnover. No. It's not like you would think there'd be like they'd be moving out every week. They're not. Some of these guys are in there forever and they don't complain.
Yeah.
Like they amazing. Don't. Yeah. They take care of their own problems. They don't call the police. They don't bother you because they don't have anywhere to go. And so
they need it.
Right. They need it and they're appreciative. And so they start. You know, they get there. They stay there. So that was great. But what I was going to say is I knew a couple other guys that I had helped get them into several single family homes that they turned into rooming houses. That then I get out, I go on the run, I go to prison, I get out of prison, I come back, I call, hey, what's going on? How are you doing? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, hey, so what are you doing now? Hey, you know, I still own those 3 rental units. The rooming houses? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, man, I probably live off those things. And I'm going, that's 15, 16 years ago you bought those. You don't own any more? Like, you know how much money you're making. Yeah, man, I make about $5,000 a month off those. You make $5,000 a month, you never bought another house. And that's the problem. Most people, what they want is, I want to have dinner with my wife once a week. I want to watch Netflix. I want to coach my son's little league. And I want to collect my rent. And I'm good. And that's fine, you know, God bless him. That's middle class America, and thank God that's the guy that is, you know, that's the backbone of America. But the thing is, if you can McDonaldize that, like to me, it's like this is a money making scheme that works and it's legal. Yeah. Why haven't you McDonaldized it? Why don't you own 100 of these? Yeah. Oh, I'm happy. I'm good. It just that kills me.
And the thing is, talking about this, and there's always resistance when you talk about these kinds of real estate things. From my perspective,
people, they don't like they don't like it. They feel like it's got like a dirty feel. Yeah, like they don't want to be a slumlord.
I talk to a lot of people that feel like they're taking advantage of somebody. Like, well, you're charging $500 for a room, and I'm like, you know, the alternative in some of these medium cost of living cities is for them to go buy a 2-bedroom apartment or rent one, and their cost of living is not $500 a month capped. It's $2,000 a month. Well, okay. Like, so rather, you need to understand, you're creating housing opportunities. They might not be like your housing opportunities that you want, but they're better than what's on the market right now. We could walk through this place, and my house was way worse than this. Growing up, we had holes in the.
I've been to your house.
You were in the house on the.
I remember there was a hole in the wall in the living room.
Yeah, in the living room. Yeah. And when it got cold, my brother and I would have to sit on the furnace vent, the diesel furnace vent, so we would stay warm. And there were holes in the walls, and I love that house. So all these houses, every single rental I have is nicer than what I grew up in. But then I have people say, you know, I can't believe that your house is of this quality. Like, well, it's better than what I had, and I would live in any of my rentals. You know, God forbid I lose my family or something, I'd move into this tomorrow.
My strategy is, I'm not doing this out of charity or because I'm trying to, if you're in a rooming house and you're not happy with the situation and you have no alternatives, you should have made better decisions in life. The fact is, this is a way for you to get back on your feet. And a lot of people move in and they stay there for 10 years and that's where they're at. That's okay.
Yeah.
Some people have alcohol problems or mental problems, whatever they have, they end up there, but it's that or the street.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can look at it however you want. I'm not concerned with why you're here. I'm concerned with providing a clean situation for you to live.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't see, and to me that's perfectly fine. And then you got the other guys like we were saying, some people don't want to even tell their friends. Like they're like, well, I don't want to let anybody know that this is how I'm making my money. Are you kidding me?
Interesting.
Listen, I would put Slumlord on my business card, and I would have 100 of these, and I'd say to every one of my lawyer buddies and my accountant buddies, I'd be like, I'm driving a $100,000 Mercedes, I live in a $3 million mansion, and I own every single eco unit on this street, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with the guy that retires because he invested money into a private prison. You can look at anything the way you want. You can justify anything you want, but if you're making money out at it and it's legal, I could sleep like a baby at night in my $2,000 Posturepedic mattress. I mean, but that thing sleeps great. I sleep on a horrible mattress right now. They just won't let me.
We figure out how to get you sponsored by Purple.com because I hear they have really good mattresses. Hint, hint.
Is that a sponsor?
I'm trying to get them on.
Oh, of course, I would love a
purple mattress. Purple mattress, yeah.
Is it actually
because my wife has scoliosis. Yeah, I mean, we can walk and talk around the house.
Matt, did you want to see
Like
how you turn this into
to me, this is already, to me, yeah, you come in the front door, and I would make this a room. To me, this is a wall right there. You've got a long hallway, and that's a bedroom. It's a small bedroom, but you should have made better decisions. That's the same thing. This is the same thing. To me, that's another bedroom right there, and that's 2 bedrooms. That's big enough for a bed and a small closet and a little nightstand, and that's it. I buy everything used. I put all the digital coded door handles on.
Okay.
Right? You know what we had on all of ours? We had the twist tie to turn on your lights. So you could come in and go zzz, you could turn your light on for an hour. An hour later they went zzz, pop,
Oh
and
my
they popped
goodness,
off.
that's amazing. Yeah, timers on the lights.
Or we eventually got the ones where you can push for like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 25.
Wow.
But the problem is there's an override on those. So we glued them shut. So you can only turn the timers on. Same thing, listen, I had a guy, we had the wall units, the window rattlers, right?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
had wall units on. We had to get an electrician to make a box so we could put a 4-hour timer and zip it, and it would go off, shut off every 4 hours. Because these guys will leave the lights on and leave for 3 days.
Yeah.
They'll go stay at their girlfriends for the weekend and leave every light on. So it was like, after we did that, we cut the electric bill in one of our places from $1,400 down to $700.
$1,400.
Now, granted, there was 12 rooms. There was like 10 or 12 rooms
No,
in that
it
one
makes
house.
sense.
The big,
I
huge
talked to a
house.
guy that did a mortgage refinance. All he did was it's like 1,000 apartments. All he did was replace the toilets and improve the market value by $1 million. This lighting timer strategy, that sounds awesome. Because I have a lot of tenants. If the government pays your electric and water bill and heat, you might as well leave the air conditioner on.
Yeah.
I've been in houses where the government pays their heating and electrical bills. They'll have the heater on the first floor, the air conditioner on the second floor, both running. Heat and air conditioners, both in winter and in summer. And it's just, I hate losing energy.
Yeah.
So here's the dumpy kitchen.
This is rough.
Yeah.
You're not getting $1.25 for this.
Well, I'm saying once it's done.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But $25,000 was my purchase on it. And
I mean, how can you lose money at $25,000?
But people do it. This unit that I bought was foreclosed on. I own 3 on the street that were foreclosed duplexes, and my average cost is $40,000 per
See,
unit.
now this would be, for you, this is a hazard. But for me, I'm fine.
This is a feature for him. This is where they cut the wall out to grow their pot.
It smells like pot up here.
This is from when I had tenants move in, and they cut, if we want to get the camera here, they cut access to the old attic space, and they had a grow room back in there. You can see where they cut it out.
All you really have to do is take the square footage of each room and then divide it by what you want to make.
Oh yeah.
So some people are paying, this guy's paying $137. This guy's paying $98. This guy's paying, because the overall house has to make this much money. So everybody says, well, he only pays this much. Yeah, well, his room is 100 square feet.
Yeah, and we're dealing with the same thing on our storage locker facility. Everybody pays a different rate, and one of the things we're doing is just making the rates uniform on a per square foot basis. And I think we're going to make an extra $750 per month in the first phase of increasing the price or increasing the revenue on the storage locker facility just by levelizing the rates, making sure everybody pays the same thing. This applies for residential, applies for commercial, all sorts of different things. You can implement the strategy in a bunch of different ways. It's kind of limited. You're kind of limited to your creativity and your knowledge. And one of the things I love talking about, and I think everybody needs to know, this is always a knowledge game and a creativity game. And even an artist can do it.
Is there one bath?
Yes.
They have 5-bedroom, 1 bath?
Yeah.
Listen, most of these guys have been in prison, so they're used to sharing a bathroom.
Oh, there you go. 5 bedrooms.
They're happy to have a kitchen. Listen, whole time I was in prison, only thing we had access to was a microwave. Half the time it was broken.
Oh, wow. This is Sean, my buddy's Airbnb. And this is another one I think that would be awesome to turn into eco units or whatever we talked about. He's like, oh, what do we call them?
Micro lofts.
Micro lofts.
Eco units, whatever. It's great.
That's what he did here. He did a cash out refinance. I think he has 8 units here. And it's really amazing. And he's making good money off this place. But it's not sleeping rooms, it's Airbnb. And they're making, I think their rate right now is $50 per unit per day.
Right.
$400 a day at 100% occupancy, which, you know, for this house, it's $12,000 a month of full occupancy, which is pretty cool. So let's walk through Sean's Airbnb. That's a gorgeous pre-Civil War brick home with nice stained glass. And after it's all said and done, after 2 months, Sean bought this place with no money out of pocket. He bought it for cash. He immediately refinanced it. Wiped out all of his cash spent on it. This is the kind of deal that you get when you get into real estate, guys. Here in Chillicothe, Ohio, we actually manufactured these. And a buddy of mine,
What is that worth?
probably $1,000 at this point.
Really?
I'm sure it's going up.
It's got to be worth more than that.
It fully works.
If it works.
And it takes delicious quarters, guys. But it takes quarters. And a buddy of mine bought an old warehouse with hundreds of these in them. And I think this is a Row machine. Row makes my vending machines at the laundromat. But it's in here for use. And they had it brought over here to the Airbnb. They even have Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. This is a suggested reading material here when you come and stay at Sean's Hotel. The staircase is original. It's old wood. We've got antique boilers here. And then once you get to the top of the stairs here, it's one of the reasons I never want to leave Southern Ohio. I don't know how many houses I've been in that have actual stained glass in them. I've run into some people that are tearing out stained glass and then they're shipping it to the east or west coast because they don't make stuff like this anymore. And it's the kind of opportunity that you have when you get in real estate. You can preserve a property, you can make money off of it, you can do whatever you want to if you're willing to get in the game. And with Matt's strategies, my strategies, you know, you can get into it with really not a lot of money. If you have an interest in my course, there will be, I'm sure, a link in the description below on it. Just trying to help people get educated and learn about real estate and money and finance. See, this I saw as a glimmer in his eyes. He's like, there's a bedroom here. There's a bedroom here. In LA, this is a $2,000 a month rental in LA right here. Ridiculous. And they just have a couch in here. I don't know why Sean hasn't turned it into its own apartment yet, but he should. So when you, this is built in the mid 1800s. A lot of people had servants. And we're meandering our way to the third floor. It's locked?
We're not going in. Huh? Yeah,
Okay.
We're not going anywhere.
All right, we're not going anywhere, but there's a third floor. And it's not in good shape, but they put a Christmas tree because there's a third-story balcony up there.
So there's a Christmas tree you can see from the road.
Yeah, there's a Christmas tree you can see from the road during Christmas.
Nice.
That's cool.